our top story at the moment. Uddhav Thackeray Shiv Sena faction has accused the party's group led by the Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde of floating a fake narrative to justify their anti-party stand. In a Supreme Court battle between the two factions today, the Eknath Shinde faction replied that Team Thackeray wants the Speaker to be stripped of all powers and wants the Supreme Court to become the defection tribunal. This is unprecedented, is what they said. This is not where the trial is supposed to take place. Sukirti is now joining us with more details on this. Sukirti, is the Eknath Shinde camp then pretty much saying that the validity of a government only needs to be decided on the floor of the Assembly or the House?
Well, yes, that is essentially the argument of the Eknath Shinde faction, which is why they've been repeatedly saying that for the Thackeray faction to say that these are MLAs who are deemed to be disqualified or they are no longer members of the party, all of that does not hold true because they did not participate in a meeting that was held outside the House. And if they do not participate in an event like that, that is not does not become a ground for disqualification. I would just request my production team to reduce the echo on my end. Continuing with the point I was making. In terms of the defection laws and how they operate, those were the things that the Shinde faction based its arguments on, and they kept saying that Uddhav Thackeray, even though they did not name him, they said that this was a leader who lost the confidence of his own party members. And he just now wants to hang on to power by locking in MLAs in, and that is not how things work. Also, he pointed out, Mr. Salve, who was arguing for the Shinde faction, he said that intra-party dissent does not become a ground for defection. Just because certain leaders of the party are not agreeing with the leader of the party, that does not become a ground for defection. And they have never said that they have given up a membership of the party, neither have they formed a new political party. This is just an issue of two different groups within the same party, but ultimately it will have to be decided whether it's the Election Commission that decides it, whether it's the Supreme Court. Somebody will have to decide who the real Shiv Sena is, because BMC elections are around the corner and it will have to be decided before that who the real Shiv Sena is. So those were the big points that the Shinde faction made. However, the Thackeray faction countered all of this by saying that this disqualification proceedings by the Deputy Speaker had already been initiated much earlier against all of these MLAs. And that is why all of them stood disqualified. That is why the floor test also was not legal. This entire formation of the government is illegal, and any decision that this government takes will also end up being illegal, which is why there's an urgency in the case and the Supreme Court should urgently decide on the issue. However, today arguments have been made. The hearing for today is over, but tomorrow again a CJI-led bench has asked both of these sides to resume the arguments tomorrow.
Many would ask, why is the Thackeray camp still fighting when they have lost power because they are no longer in the government? Why are they still fighting, and what will this Supreme Court case now help them manage?
Well, that's absolutely a valid question. Any common viewer would be asking that, and that's something that the CJI also seemed to get a hint from the Shinde faction, that the Shinde faction also seemed to be going in that direction. The CJI said that the kind of arguments, Mr. Salve, you are making, it makes it seem that you are saying that the Supreme Court should not hear any of these pleas at all because they've all become infructuous. There is nothing more to hear. But that is not the case, the CJI pointed out. There are several questions of law that need to be decided. How and when MLAs leave a party, what are the defection laws that come into operation. So the kind of thing that the Supreme Court is essentially saying is that if laws have been violated, if rules have been violated, and then a government has been formed, then that's something that is illegal, and then the Supreme Court will have to examine all of those issues, which is why the Supreme Court is paying heed into all of these issues. And of course, as far as the Thackeray faction is concerned, for them, they've lost power. They used to run the government and they lost that, so they would definitely want their power back.
All right. Many thanks, Sukirti, for joining us with all those details.